Now we continue the startup village, we move on and move further into the future. Maybe it's quite clear to the leaders and users, and today China is growing with growing pace, is commercializing their innovative products and gives space for experiment to the tech companies. Now we have to deal with a couple of questions. Is Chinese market totally independent? What new opportunities can be seen for Russia? What is the best way to join this market for Russian companies? There are a lot of parks and incubators and accelerators for startups. Is it worth joining? Is it worth trying? What are the economic support measures in China? Now I give the floor to the moderator, Evgeny Kosolapov, the representative of Skolkovo in China.
In Moscow, greetings from Beijing, the direct plug-in from China. I'm based here in China, in Beijing, and the role of Skolkovo office here in China is to help Russian startups to go to China and work with Chinese market. And today we have excellent speaker who is residing in the heart of the Chinese innovation ecosystem, so-called China Silicon Valley, Zhongguancun Park. And in the very, very heart of it, there is accelerator and incubator Innoway. And we have the director of this incubator, Team Luan, with us. Team, would you say some few words about Innoway and yourselves?
Thank you, Eugene. Thank you for inviting me to Startup Village, and I always would like to come. But just pretty special this year that we joined from this online version. So my name is Team Luan, as you mentioned. I'm actually taking care of the Innoway of international collaborations and also corporate innovations. So Innoway, which is the startup street in China, so we focus on startups, companies, and so on the street we have roughly 45 incubators or accelerators. So we help the startups company from garage and let them grow. And we officially launched 2014 and authorized from federal government of China. And then so far we've been helping thousands of startups companies, and then to see them grow, that'll be our visions and also our value on top. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Great. Tim, let's start from the big picture. What is, in your opinion, how open China right now to the international innovations? Or China is already so developed, so the flying cars, cashless payments, and so on, and China maybe doesn't need any foreign innovations anymore. What is your opinion in general? How welcome China now to international innovations?
Well, definitely we need the international collaborations, and then especially in the field of innovations. And that we are in the 21st century. So the major topic and also the competition in 21st century is globally, which is the talents, right? So we always are tracking good talents and help them to grow, their business. And the advantage for China is that China is a very big market. It has become the second largest market on the world. And China is also one piece of the market, right? So compare with, for instance, United States or Europe, the China is one big market, which is combined like one piece. So that means easily you can duplicate your business model from one province to the other province. So that means there's no language, regulations, law, the differences. So that's actually, bring huge advantage for the company when they scale up of their business. Yeah.
Mm. That's nice to hear. And actually, we in Skolkovo are thinking about to launch a really big accelerator this year to help our companies to go to Asia in general, and China in particular. And also with our regional partners, we probably will have another accelerator so that companies can go to China market. what do you think about Russian-China relationships in terms of innovations? In particular, that this year and the previous year, we had like bilateral years of cooperation and innovations, which were stated by our government, by Mr. Putin and Xi Jinping. They announced that these 2 years are special years for innovations. Do you see any kind of anything special on the China-Russian direction?
Yeah, definitely. China and Russia, from the government level, relationship, which is very good, as everybody knows, and not only from the political levels, but also, of course, in the field of innovations. And I do believe, between these two countries has so much, differences, and also the demands from each other. And China needs definitely good, technology, IT persons, coder, programmers from Russia, and to join the China market. And also Chinese good internet IT companies also willing to expand their business to Russia. So we see that, the traffic in the between. Yeah.
Okay, nice to know. If you would like to give like very simple advice to any startup, be it from Russia, from other countries, if they want to go to China, what are the first steps they need to do in order to start their moving to China market?
Sure. As original way, usually, company, once they choosing to having their business expand to foreign countries, definitely they're hiring. They could hire, for instance, like in a consulting firm to make the analyze of the market and the demands, etc. But nowadays we actually really in the field of like innovations, and the market changing so fast. The technology also changing so fast. So basically, you just gotta believe there's a market and similar, even US or Europe or China, and just if you want, you should just all times drive in to all in and to try the market. But of course, from single and then small steps. Of course, you could rely on for instance, like your organization, like Skolkovo in China, that I know that you operating super excellent the program, the helping the companies focus on their own business, and then has to be more as much as possible, but then also you release all the side jobs and all unnecessary major point to like your suppliers or your partners in the other countries. So like the bookkeepings and legal firms, and how to register company, how to apply the IPs, that you could rely on like third party. And nowadays the government is supporting a lot, so there's not counting as previously before that you have to spend so much money to supplier to support your business from site. For instance, I do know that you have also similar program, which is probably, I don't know, it's going to be totally free or not, but it's going to be very compatible, reasonable price, and also the cost for early stage companies. Yeah.
So basically what you are saying is that don't spend money on the big consulting companies to create the business plan for you. Just go and buy the flight ticket to China and do it by yourself with the local partners, right? I mean, if COVID situation would let people to do so.
Yeah, that's my recommendations. No, China has so many like unicorns. I could say none of the unicorn companies really depending on like marketing, analyzing, etc. Because market is changing so fast, and the traditional way like a survey and etc. probably wouldn't matching the demands from market that on real time. So you have to listening and feeling the market by yourself.
Okay, so let's say I'm the startup from Russia, and then I got the ticket to China finally after the COVID is finished, and I fly to, let's say, Beijing, and what would be the proper way to find the local partner and local support? Because China is huge and it has a lot of supporting institutions like science and technology parks, accelerators, incubators. Maybe you can explain the difference between those, maybe using the example of Zhongguancun and Innoway, because you host about like 40 incubators only in your street. So could you please kind of give a direction, who is who and which place is better to use for different purposes?
Yeah, sure. It's always depending on the trust, right? So if you really trust, for instance, like even Skolkovo, a China office or Innoway, that you could definitely come over. We could give you like, sort of like referrals and recommendations from side. If you think that everybody is pretty strange, then you could even consider like, Russia embassy. I'm not sure you have a, those kind of like, advising, the functions from the embassy that's, let actually the company knows about like basic information. Definitely, probably Russia embassy could do even these similar jobs, and pick up like, really reliable and, reasonable vendors in this field or partners, and list in the embassy's, official webpage. So the people from Russia, they can actually browse, this, webpage, to choose and pick up necessary, vendors or local partners based on their demands, right? So not only, for instance, tourist information, but also as entrepreneurs, how to start a business as a journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, talking about the official representations, we are about to have a special business mission in a couple of weeks with our Trade Chamber of Commerce in China, I mean, Russian Trade Chamber of Commerce. Oh, okay. But what I wanted to kind of like to understand better is what would be the difference, let's say, between the Zhongguancun itself and Innoway, how people can understand these relationships.
Zhongguancun is a science park. People call us, the Chinese version of, like, for instance, Silicon Valley. And this area raising roughly 35% of Chinese unicorns. It is just because there's many universities around in Beijing area. You could say closing by Zhongguancun area. Not only like Peking and Tsinghua University, these two is like a number one, number two in China. But also many others. Many of them are national level universities. Every single year, many of the candidates graduate when they look for jobs. That's why a good technology company try to squeeze in this area to hiring a good person. So that's why I bring up so much unicorn companies from Zhongguancun area. Innoway, which is the startup street. So we more focus on startups, early stage companies. And we are helping the incubators. In our street, we have, as I said, 45 incubators each. Each of them are helping the startups company based on their own business model. That's how, the system, how it goes. So we focus on early stage. And then Zhongguancun Science Park, which is, the whole science park, providing the not only the physical space, the area, but also all the resources, talents, universities, etc. And also we in a way that we have incubators, accelerators, or some of the accelerator based on the co-working space based on the model. Some of them focus on like training programs. Some of them like a VC firms. So all different type of the entities in helping the startups companies. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, now talking about the support measures that you have, you mentioned the office space. As far as I know, startups in China can have really big support from the local governments. It could be not only office space, it could be financial grants, for example, up to 1 million, 10 million RMB, which is big money by any standards like Chinese or international ones. It could be tax deductions or some services like HR help, like legal support and so on. Are those support measures only for Chinese startups, or any foreign startup can also apply them? What could be the difference?
Yeah. So it is open for everybody. There's no like such like differences between countries or even between the province, as long as you qualify. But in China, the grants or subsidies are a little bit slightly different from province to province. So if you go a little bit usually say countryside province, or if the economy is not really growing up so much, usually they have actually a huge amount of better than first tier city grants. If you go Peking, Shanghai and Shenzhen, the grants will be actually probably limited compared with those second or third city of China. Of course, but in Beijing or Shanghai, you definitely also could still apply the grants. But the grants not actually based on, hi, if you register a company, they will give you the grants right away. It's always the qualifications. If you matching certain qualifications based on the the patents or copyrights, it could be based on the talents, how many postdoctoral degrees, employees at your companies, and then how many what's the revenue of the companies, etc. And then it could actually matching different grants. It is a big study. You got to actually really learn and also spend time to apply those grants. But same as every country, the grants just on the side, it is a bonus. So you could definitely got the grants that support your business as encourage. But that's not going to be the whole amount of your revenue or full support, right? You really need to rely on your own business, how surviving, especially in another country. Of course, government also not only give them grants, but also other resources. So, for instance, as Innoway, we also as a government-owned entity, we help the startups company not only grants, but also, for instance, general PRs, and also matchmaking to the certain industries. And then, and also we give them the opportunity to join the competitions, and then roadshow, and plus we will give them the chance to meet the investors, and all those services will be on the side beyond of the grants. So that's a whole cycle of the services. Grants is part of it.
Yeah, actually, being located in your street as well, our representative office, we also very much enjoyed the support, not the support, but the ecosystem you have created. You have 40 different incubators from different companies, from Baidu, from Tencent, from different universities like Tsinghua, Beida, and so on. And they are focusing on different areas, different businesses, and they always run some kind of events in your place. And so if startup is landing in your street, they can participate in the events created not by only yourself, but all the neighbors. So they have very vibrant and fruitful ecosystem, and they create the new network for business, right?
That's right. It is a marketplace. I should say it is a marketplace for innovation, like innovators or entrepreneurs or startups companies, VCs. It is a marketplace for them to trade, not only the real trading business, but for them to trade even the talents. One startup's company died, that not means all the talents actually pass away, right? So they will join another body, another entity, another startup's company, restart again. So in here, that you always see the startups company or founders have had their own company a couple of times. But finally, they become a very strong entrepreneur, and finally to be successful in the marketplace.
Yeah, it's basically what we call spillover effect between the startups and corporations, and that's what we also trying to create in the Moscow Skolkovo location. You mentioned about the VC investments, and actually on in Innoway Street, you also have like venture station there. If we are talking about again the financial support, what is your opinion? What would be easier, for example, to get for startups, the grant from the government of China or VC support investments? What would be the more probable kind of way of for foreign startup?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good question, but it's always chicken and eggs, right? So if you got a grant, that means you are really qualified of certain things. That means you're a good startup company, and then the VC definitely will check this as a value. If you got the VC investment, and then of course when you apply the grant, the government also will check, you got a really good investors, really good famous VC to part of you, then why not we should also to give some grants. So remember, the grants of VCs is always come to the good one. So no matter VC or grants, it's not a charity, right? So they're not actually to give the grant to someone who's going to die. They always give the grant or money to someone who's going to grow, right? So it's always, once you're good, you're getting better and better. You got a VC, you got also the PRs from the government and from medias, and then again you got also another VC to join because you got the PRs, and also the grants were falling up, and some talents also willing to join because you got a really good reputation because you got the grants from government as a reference. You got a really good VC and you got a PR. Instead of always, building up your own reputation, right?
Mm-hmm. We have actually the question from the audience, which is kind of related to what you have been saying before. You mentioned that in order to receive support from the Chinese government, sometimes it's better not to go to the first tier city like Beijing, Shanghai, but better to go to second tier city, maybe like Nanjing or whatsoever. And the question from the audience is that there is a startup which created technology that increases efficiency of the solar panel, so the solar energy. And they have a question where to go to China in order to have more effective way to find support in China. Would it be Beijing? Would it be maybe other cities? Or would it be accelerators or go directly to VC? What would be your advice to this kind of particular technology as example?
Yeah, it's always good that if you participate in the first tier city of China. It is same thing everywhere. If I go Russia, I wouldn't go like the countryside somewhere, even so they give the grant, but there's no talent to join your company. And there's no really good market. Of course, based on if you do solar panel, maybe you could get some grant, some orders, or procurement purchase from government or from someone in somewhere, but wouldn't rely on just one client, right? You have to rely on the whole China market client. So my recommendation is you always go to the first city. The same thing, same choice, everything. Everyone, as a young generation, you make the decision. If you go to the first tier city, all the expenses are high, your rental high, everything is high, but you got to meet good people. You got to
Well, I don't know in Russian or in English, but basically what Tim was saying that it's good to go through the main cities. Может быть, даже по-русски перескажу его слова.
I will tend right now in Russian because it is probably better to go to first-tier cities, and there you can find the best support measures from the government, and you have access to talents. It can be Beijing or Shanghai. There you have the best universities. The next question was about solar panels. He's back. Great.
бывает. Да, даже в сердце китайской Кремниевой
Even
долины,
in the
да,
heart of
бывает
Chinese
проблемы.
Silicon Valley, they have issues with their connection.
Мгм. Вообще от себя замечу, что зеленая
I can
экономика,
say
зеленая
that
энергетика,
green
солнечные
energy,
батареи,
solar
ветровая,
panels, wind
вся история
energy,
генерация для Китая является
for
национальным
China
приоритетом.
now it is a
Они объявили о том,
priority.
что они хотят
They
достичь,
announced that they want to reach
carbon neutrality,
zero
климатной нейтральности
carbon
к
emission
2050 году.
to
Вот,
till
соответственно, они инвестируют
2060,
огромные
so they
деньги
invest
в
lots of
все, что
money
связано с
in
зеленой
this green
энергетикой, отчисткой
technologies.
старой незеленой энергетикой, то
They
есть
want to
есть
remove
национальный план
previous
по
technologies. They have a
декarbонизации
national plan of
чистым источникам
transformation
и
to clean energy resources, to renewable
Китай
resources.
уже давно, лет
Now,
8 назад,
China, for
наверное, уже
8
давно обогнал
years,
все другие экономики
they have been
американскую,
away
европейскую
of
по
most
принципе количества
economies.
денег, инвестируемых
The United
в зеленую
States,
энергетику.
Europe, and they
Поэтому
invest a lot in
отвечаю
this
на
green
вопрос, эта
technology.
история,
So I want
все,
to answer
связанное
this
с
question.
солнечной энергетикой,
Everything about
очень
solar
поддерживается Китаем,
energy,
поэтому
renewable
продолжается.
energy, it will be supported in China.
Так, ну как там получится у нас, Тима?
So is it okay? Can we see Tima?
Ага. Okay, Tim, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yeah.
Hello?
So we had, yeah. Hi. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, we just have 4 minutes left, a very short time. I have very final question to you. We were talking about general understanding of China market and how to come to China market in the normal terms, so to speak. Could you have like a very small, simple advice what our startups can do now in the COVID restriction when they physically cannot come to China? What they can do online at this year, for example?
Okay, if you really trust, based on the trust, then you can actually, for instance, find a local partner from China, and the person will be on the side. That's why we opened the program, which is called Local Partner Program, helping the overseas company once they cannot really come over, then they can actually rely and also authorize someone from China who is understand your project, who is also having an international background. So no English program, and then they'll be the on-site person as a local founder, local partner to to initiate and kick off your program. Of course, you as your original owner, you could still having the shares of the China entity company as a shareholder. So that's what we're doing so far.
Mm-hmm. So basically, it's like as always, like when we have advice how to work with China, the most frequently heard advice is to have reliable local partner. In the normal situation, you probably can open your office here, but now as you cannot come in person to China, probably it's better to have some kind of online relationships with someone in China who will be kind of a proxy team for you during this COVID time.
Yeah, that's why Eugene. Yeah, that's why Eugene, as like a Skolkovo, we should actually build up this, trust and reliable bridge. That's because people will trust probably Skolkovo from your side, and you trust Innoway. Then that's how build bridge could build up.
Okay, so Tim, thank you very much for this very general. Well, now it's a very general introduction, but I'm sure that if people are really interested in the China market, they can always contact you. Find your contact through us, through Skolkovo. We can always provide your contacts, or they can contact us and find actually more details about how to work at the China market. And we will be always happy to help them together, Skolkovo and Innoway. Thank you very much.
I just actually key my email here, so you can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you then. And.
Жажда веселья. Жажда путешествий. Жажда общения. Утоляй любую жажду с освежающими вкусами Липтон. Мой любимый персик.
При низких температурах окружающей среды тела быстро теряют энергию. Но нахождение вблизи источника тепла позволяет телу получать тепловое излучение. Происходит самопроизвольное перераспределение тепла. Следовательно, когда источники тепла находятся вместе, их энергия побеждает холод. Лучшее создается вместе. Газпромбанк.
МТС Стартап Хаб. Работа с реальным бизнес-заказчиком МТС. Доступ к ресурсам самого крупного телеком-бренда в России. Не можешь поверить? А в твой стартап обязательно поверят. У нас есть все, что тебе понадобится. Ресурсы, клиенты, технологии, каналы продаж. Мы оценим твой продукт, правильно применим в своем бизнесе и масштабируем на мировой рынок. МТС Стартап Хаб ждет тебя и твоих нереальных бизнес-идей.